to switch gears completely. You know him, you love him, you're kind of afraid of him. Mitch Pileggi! Mitch!
Is it good-hearted bitch? Is that what
No. The song is Cold-Hearted Bitch, and we changed the lyrics to Good-Hearted Mitch.
Admit it, Rob, you're a little scared of Mitch. I mean, like, we decided that Mitch is maybe the most intimidating person any of us have ever met. In a charming, loving way. In a way that, like, oh, Mitch is the nicest guy ever who could kill us without thinking twice.
They named me Mitch for a reason.
Yeah. All right, we'll turn the stage over to you, sir. Mitch Pileggi, everybody.
Hey, you guys. Loud and swing. Right? My God, these guys I mean, it's last night, this is the first night that I've heard them, and they just knocked me out. How many people were here last night to hear them? How lucky are we? Well, I'm going to sing with them one of these times. How freaking good is Jensen, for God's sakes? My Lord, that boy can sing his ass off. I know, right? How's everybody doing today? You doing good? You had a good weekend? Good time here? Good. I can only hold my gut in for so long, so we're gonna have to make this a quick panel. It starts hurting after a while. But anyway, I've had a great time. I've met a lot of wonderful people, and it's my first time working with creation on Supernatural. We used to do them with the X-Files when the show was first going. I didn't say that for cheap applause, but thank you. X-Files. Supernatural, yeah! So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some questions and talk to you all. If you have anything you want to know. How many people were here yesterday to hear my BS? I'll make some new shit up for you, okay?
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you.
I've actually been a fan since X-Files, and I was going to ask you if you have any X-Files stories.
I got 11 seasons of X-Files stories. The X-Files was a real blessing in my life. It gave me an amazing life. I met my wife on the show. My daughter was born while we were doing the show up in Vancouver. I got to work with an amazing crew up in Vancouver, and then we got an amazing crew in Los Angeles. So it was the whole thing was, and I got to play a character that they gave me a really good, cool arc throughout over the course of 11 seasons. So I probably have a lot of really good stories that I can't remember because it was over a 25-year period as the show was around. So. Do you have a favorite episode?
I don't, but I'm waiting for another X-Files movie, just saying.
I don't know if you guys are going to have... Talk to Jillian about that. That wasn't a diss at all, believe me. I understand absolutely. We did the show for a long time. Jillian's living in England and her kids are there and she has all the reason in the world to move on with their life, so that's where we're at with that. But yeah, I mean, if it ever did happen, I'd love to go back and play this character again. He is still alive, by the way. But yeah, thank you so much for being a fan.
I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care. Hi.
Hi, Mitch.
Hi.
My question's also about the X-Files. I was a huge fan. That was my first big TV series that I got into. And I loved the 2 event series that happened later. And I wondered how you felt about them, because I thought they were a fantastic ending to the show, but also had some of the best episodes that had ever been done. And so I just wondered what your sort of thoughts on those 2 event series were specifically.
I'm with you. I thought that the last season we did, I thought was much better, because the 6 episodes we did before that tried to put a lot of stuff into 6 episodes. You know, we had been gone for like 13 years and came back and tried to tell us, tell stories, and it's hard to get a lot into 6 episodes. When we came back the next time and did 10 episodes, it was a luxury because we were able to flesh out the stories and tell more. And I was able to participate a little bit more in the last season than the previous one, which I was very happy about. But yeah, no, I thought the last season we did, I loved it. I loved it. I know some people had problems with it. Well, that's the way life goes. But I really was very, very happy with everything that we did that last season.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you. Hi.
Hi. My question is about when Dean went back in time to talk to you. How did it feel to like acting wise when you got possessed by Azazel?
It was fun. He was a hoot, and thank God I didn't have to, because I understand that the actor that played the yellow-eyed demon previously he had to wear contacts for the yellow eyes, and they did it with CGI with me, which I was very, very happy about, because those things are really hard to wear, and it's hard to see, and it's hard to really function in. But it was fun, man. I got to, as I said yesterday, I got to sniff on Jensen a little bit, so that was pretty cool. But it's one of those things where you can really just kind of just go over the top and be as crazy as you want to, and which I love doing. If anybody saw Shocker, they'll know that. But I had a lot of fun doing it. It was my first time working with the boys and working on the show. And as I said yesterday, the Supernatural had a lot of ties to the X-Files. A lot of the people that worked on the crew on the X-Files worked on Supernatural, and of course Kim Manners was running the show when I did that episode, so that was very special for me.
Thank you.
You bet. Hi.
Hello. You just mentioned Shocker, so I just wanted to say I was 14 when I saw you in Shocker.
You shouldn't have been watching it at 14.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm a Texan, and I'm from down on the border, and we go to the Majestic a lot for plays. And you mentioned yesterday that you did musical theater in Austin. I wondered, now I got curious, have you ever played the Majestic in San Antonio?
No, I have not.
You never played that one?
Never did. No, I did. Everything I did was in Austin.
Everything in Austin.
Yeah, I did. I worked at the ZAC, and I did Jesus Christ Superstar at Zilker Hillside, and which was an amazing experience. I played Pontius Pilate, and that was a trip. Yeah, no, I never got. I actually lived in San Antonio when I was younger for a bit. It's a great town, and I'm going to be down in McAllen at some point.
Yeah, I'm going to see you. That's like next month.
Well, I look forward to seeing you again.
All right, thank you.
You bet. You guys will notice I say you bet a lot, so just start keeping score. Hi.
Hi. I know that Supernatural has inherited a lot of things from X-Files, including the amazing Kim Manners and a bunch of our crew. And they've made a lot of direct references, like they'll say Skulder and they'll do the ship names even.
Yeah, I do that too.
And do you think it's weird that Sam and Dean never noticed that their grandpa looks a lot like Skinner?
I tell you what, I think they're having a panel after this. You ask them that question. What the hell? What's going on? What's up with that? Yeah. I think it's weird. But ask them that.
Maybe they don't pay attention.
They don't.
They're just
that.
watching for the plot.
Exactly. Hi.
Hi, Mitch. I'm Joanne.
Hi, Joanne.
Just wanted to, first, very quickly, I just wanted to say both with Skinner and with Samuel, with Campbell, you kept me guessing, in both shows. Are you a good guy? Are you a bad guy? So that was really, that was really neat, all, through both series.
Thank you.
With the second part of the X-Files came about both times, and you hadn't really, except for the movie and stuff, been together. Was it like putting on an old shoe or getting on a bicycle again?
It absolutely was. I mean, the first scene that I had when I came back was with David in his office, you know, we walked through the door and it was like, there's the poster, there's his desk, there's the pencils in the ceiling, you know, and it was, other than the fact Skinner had a beard, it was like riding a bike. We just fell right back into it, and I didn't really have any concerns about it, because we played those characters for so many years, and they were just, there was such a part of our makeup that it was easy just to fall back into it, and fun. It was fun to be able to play those characters, and say those words again. So it was a trip, yeah.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Did you like the last 2 seasons, or?
Yeah, I got, first of all, the first of the last 2. When the beginning opened, I actually got a little got emotional, because I had been such a fan for all the years and everything, and yeah, I did. I liked both, and
Good.
I thought they were really good.
Thank you.
So thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you.
Hi, Mitch.
Hi.
Jared and Jensen have told us a couple of good Kim Manor stories, like when he stuck them in a hole and then poured several 5-gallon buckets of ice water on them, and then
Did he really?
he did do that. It's on the DVD. And also he stuck them in a house full of live bees and told them to suck it up, and went in there with his short saw.
That's so Kim Manners. That's so Kim Manners.
Do you have some good Kim Manor stories you could share?
You know, I got probably a lot of them. There was one that I remember specifically that we were shooting in Vancouver, and there was a guest star on the show, and he was the scene that they were shooting. Kim was directing the episode, and the first date, this actor was kind of in the background. He didn't really know what Kim wanted him to do, and so the first AD came up to Kim and he said, "Listen, this guy wants to know what you want him doing in the scene, and what exactly what you want him to do." And Kim goes, he's just an out-of-focus piece of shit in the background, doesn't matter. And this actor was standing right there, and and he was like, the first AD goes, Kim, and Kim was like, oh, jeez. But it was, Kim was one of the best. That was just the way. I mean, he's just the kick it in the ass guy, and he was such a great dude, and I got to do so many episodes with him directing, so it was a real treat to be around him, and then to come back on the Supernatural and to see him again and work with him again for a short period of time.
Thank you.
You bet. Hi.
Hi, Mitch. So thanks again for coming back today.
Absolutely.
For seeing you yet again. So we know, you're a great actor, but we know you have that love for music. So I was wondering if there was any particular band or musician, famous or not, that you would love to jam with.
Right there. After hearing them last night, I want to play with these guys. It's like they're so good. They're so good, and yeah, and I will.
I know. You go on tour, I'll be a groupie.
Well, I don't know about tour, but I will get up and sing with them for sure. I'll leave tours to David.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wanting to know, since you guys are all like family, how did it feel when you had to, as your character Samuel, had to throw your grandson under the bus to the demons?
It was in the script.
No, like
So I felt just fine.
Like personally, like I know it's in the script.
Yeah, I knew that nothing was going to happen to him because it was their show. So.
Like, oh man, why'd I have to do that?
I'm sure that Samuel was torn as far as what he was doing, because he was trying to save his daughter, and he was sacrificing his grandsons to do it. So it was really a messed up situation that he was in, that Crowley put him in. Crowley put him in that position, right? Is that you guys are gonna have to help me, because you know the show a lot better than I can remember. So. But I think that so it was and hopefully I was trying to give that through my performance, that it was very it was traumatic for him and himself to have to do what he was doing. So hopefully I conveyed that. I don't know if I did to too many people, but
Thank
Okay, you bet. Hi.
Hi again. I was wondering, now that you finished your movie with Al Pacino, or
Hey, I did a movie with Al Pacino. Did you guys hear?
you're welcome.
Thank you, darling.
Of all the TV series that are on right now, are there any that you would really love to have a guest role on or an arc on that you'd love to work on?
You know, there's a lot of stuff on cable, a lot of stuff on Netflix, Amazon, Hulu. There's a couple shows that I'd like to work. Ozark is a really good show. I don't know if you've seen that. It's wonderful. There's a series called Goliath with Billy Bob Thornton. That's wonderful. That's the kind of stuff I want to do. There's some others that are not popping in my head right now, but that's the kind of stuff I want to do. I want to do some edgy stuff. I'm not going to say what I want to get away from because then I get in trouble. But I would really like to if I'm going to continue in TV. I want to do some stuff on cable. Right now I'm doing NCIS, which is a lot of fun. It's a really good group of people. Mark Harmon is just one of the nicest people in the world. So I'm having a good time on it, and I'm playing Secretary of Defense, and it's a pretty cool role. So I'm going back and working on it when I get back to LA after this. So it's a trip. But yeah, there's some really good stuff on cable that I would like to do.
Thank you.
Is there anything that you'd like to see me on that you can think of that?
All the things. Whatever gets you
You're
on
so
our screens.
sweet. Get at it.
Small screen, big screen, just...
You're just sucking up. Sit down.
It's been 18 years we've been fans of yours.
And I love you for it. I love you for it. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Good.
I was wondering if you could do a captain's log as Colonel Caldwell from Stargate.
Probably not, but
I love Stargate, so I was so excited when
listen,
you brought it.
I had a spaceship.
I know.
I had a
that's
damn
so cool.
spaceship. Shoot, I got to get my Captain Kirk on.
Could we possibly see like a web series of Colonel Caldwell?
Unless
That's
somebody
so
else does
awesome.
it. I had a lot of fun doing that. It was fun working on that show, and it was well, I got to work with Jason Momoa for Christ's sake. I had Jason Momoa kicking my ass. It was fun. But it was a great group of people once again, and I had a lot of fun doing it. So I was very, very blessed, as I am in everything that I've been able to do.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. Hiya.
Hello, it's nice to see you again.
It's good to see you again too.
I was wondering, people talk a lot about how different the set of Supernatural seems to run as opposed to other shows that there's a more serious tone on the set, and I was wondering what were some of the differences filming X-Files in Vancouver with some of the same set people as opposed to filming Supernatural a few years later, and how everything was run.
You know, it was run pretty similarly, you know, as I say, because Kim was a big part of both shows. So both of them had that same flavor. But Supernatural, you got two guys that they're just having so much fun doing what they're doing. And they deserve everything that they've gotten from working on this show because they're just two of the best people that I've ever met. So I think maybe the fun factor on Supernatural was a little higher than it was on the X-Files because we were just kind of like, you know, doing our thing. I mean, we had a lot of fun on the X-Files too. I hesitate to say go look at some of our gag reels because there's some pretty stuff that wouldn't fly these days, to be sure. You know, I think maybe just the fun factor on Supernatural is a little bit higher register.
Okay, thank you very much.
Was that answer your question?
Mostly because it seems I don't understand how they get anything done with all the pranks and stuff. If I goofed around that much at my job and there's not even that many people depending on me getting my crap done, I was in so much trouble. I just don't understand how they get away with it.
When it gets down to the nitty gritty, though, they get the job done. I do have to say that I do blame Jarrett and Jensen for my Words with Friends addiction. I never played it. I had never played it before. I did the show, and there was a lot of time spent the first AD trying to get them to turn their phones off and turn Words with Friends off so we could shoot. But I was like, oh, what are they doing on the phones? What is that? What's this? Well, I know I'm to this day, I play Words with Friends. It's just ridiculous. It's sick. It's sad.
Don't bet on it. We've heard some bad things happen if you bet with Jerry on Words with Friends.
Yeah, you know what? It was so funny because he came up with one word, and my wife was there, and I was like, going, we were playing each other, and my wife looks at the word, and she goes, what is that? And she goes to him, and she goes, it was third, T-H-I-R. And she goes, what does thir mean? He goes, well, like over there. He's a knucklehead, what can I say? Hi.
Hi, Mitch. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about how you got into acting, because you've been doing it for a while and you're so good at your craft. So how did you make that decision?
It happened. It came about. I was telling somebody a story yesterday. I played in high school. I played football and I wrestled. But my senior year, I was in Turkey and going to a school on an air base, and I took a chorus class because I thought it'd be easy, where all the girls were, you know. And I thought, so I'll take chorus and my girlfriend was also taking the chorus class, and she and her friends knew that I could sing. Well, they were getting ready to do the musicals, spring musicals, and they were doing West Side Story. So at one point, I'm sitting in the back of the room in the bass section with all the other guys screwing around, you know, and I hear my name, and I'm like, huh? And it was this teacher who was at the front of the class sitting at her piano, and she said, would you come up here? And I said, okay. So I went up, and she goes, I understand you can sing. And I said, no, I can't sing. And she goes, well, I hear you can. And she said, I want you to sing this song. And she wanted me to sing Maria from West Side Story. And so I said, okay. So I started singing it. She got about 4 bars into it. She just stopped. She looked at me and she goes, you're my Tony. And I ended up playing Tony in West Side Story, and I got on stage and got that immediate feedback, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I think I'm gonna do this.
Awesome.
So I did it, you know, and then I got away from that. I had a whole other career for many years, and then I finally came back to acting. I went to Austin, and I started doing community theater there. And once again, I got on stage, and I just was like, this is what I want to do. So I got very, very lucky and did a lot of theater in Austin, and then at a certain point I decided that I wanted to come out to LA and you know, give it a shot, see what I could do, and it was a struggle for a couple years. Fortunately, my brother had a company that I could work for, and every time I had an audition, they'd let me go do it. And one day I walked into a room and Wes Craven was there, and that kind of started the whole ball rolling. And then I got very fortunate, very lucky, and I've been very blessed in my career.
Thank you.
You bet.
Hello.
Hi.
Real quick, my mom says, she's sitting over there, she says she loved you.
Hey Mom, I love you too.
She said she loves you, Skinner. And my question is, how did you like working on Return of the Living Dead Part 2 with Sarge?
That was a gas. It was, I mean, that was really early after I got into LA, and it was one of the first things that I did. And it was a lot of fun. I just got to play that. I got to fire this machine gun off the back of a Jeep that was like so cool. But it was, and I didn't have to get my brains eaten on camera, so that was fun. It was a lot of fun. It gave me my first kind of taste into doing stuff in LA.
Do you want to do more horror films, or?
I'm actually going to do one at the end of April. Start working on one.
Awesome.
It's called Desert Shadows. Honey? Desert Shadows? My daughter. my brains. So it's called Desert Shadows, yeah.
Awesome, I'll keep a lookout for it.
Alrighty.
Thank you so much.
You bet. And there's another one that they're still trying to get out called Polaroid that we shot that was a Weinstein company thing that they're trying to get another company. I think another company's bought it. It'll eventually come out.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you. Hi.
Hey, we're happy to see you here.
Thank you.
Ever since I got hooked to the show, which was obviously a while ago, I have wondered how Kripke's original pitch, which was something like Route 66 meets Urban Legends, I don't think that would have hooked me the way this show has hooked me. So I have always assumed that there was some creative process in those early seasons that added the layers that made this such an amazing story. And I'm wondering if you have any insight into what Kim Manners might have brought. Like, what are the layers he might have brought?
Oh, darling, that's above my pay grade. It's like I can barely memorize my lines. Just his artistry and his sensibility about what he knew so well, because he had been in the business for so long. He worked on Charlie's Angels, for God's sakes. He had a huge history of working in the industry, so he knew so many different, to bring those layers to what this show has. He had that experience and that knowledge, and I'm sure so much of it was him. And then he got a great cast. So, the first time that I did the show, I hadn't watched the show before I started doing it. And then I watched it when when they asked me to do it. I started watching it. I was like, my God, why have I not been watching the show? Because it's just freaking good.
Yes.
Right? So but I think that Kim did bring a lot of that to it.
Thanks so much.
You bet. You bet.
Hi again.
Hi.
You were wonderful yesterday as well as you are today.
Oh, you're sweet. Thank you.
No, you're wonderful.
Is it okay to say that? You're sweet? I don't know. Anymore?
Anyway, here it is for you. So I was the one that yelled from the audience that Crowley brought you back from above and Sam from below.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome, because no one could figure it out. And I was like, oh, that was in the episode. So anyway, you worked at everything against the love and your grandsons to get your daughter back. That was your whole point. I mean, you hated what you were doing, but you were doing it for that one particular reason, to get Mary back. So you died with the worm, that whole horribleness, the electricity and all that.
I died like 4 or 5 times that episode, didn't I?
Yeah, but you finally bit the dust, there on that horrible floor. And
With Jared whipping me in the head with it.
later, right, Amara just brings her back because she got together with her brother again and they're going off and I'm going to do something nice for you, for Dean and Sam. I'll bring your mom back. If, Mr. Campbell was still somewhere where he could see all this happening, how do you think he would have felt about that? Like, look what I did, and boom, there she is.
Dang. Why didn't I do that? Shit. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I just, maybe next season I'll come back. I'll be able to come back and maybe we'll straighten a few things out or reveal why a few things happen and how he feels about a few things. Maybe a family dinner at the end of the series. The Winchesters and the Campbells. Who knows? I don't know. Yeah.
Well, maybe we should all write in, for the final season, not just bring back, John, but how about, him too?
I'll arm wrestle him.
Right? Yeah, all of us.
I'll arm wrestle it, John.
Thank you.
You bet.
Hi, so my question is, you've been a lot of characters in the sci-fi world, and have you found that you like one specific character, aspect more than others, and do you bring that character aspect to your current character?
Well, if you watch some of these I've done, you're basically seeing, on Stargate and a couple of other things, you're basically seeing, Stargate was basically Skinner in a flight suit. Yep. So, right?
Yep. Okay.
So I said that one time. David, I can't remember what happened. I'm not gonna tell that story because it was. I guess that tells the limitations of my ability to act. But yeah, I just try, anything I do, I try to bring as much reality and make it as organic as I possibly can, as I was saying yesterday. That's sometimes I'm more successful than other times. As I was saying yesterday, I'm extremely lazy, so sometimes I apply myself a lot more than other times, which is a horrible thing, but it's a fact. Yeah.
Well, thank you, and we hope to see you again.
Thank you so much.
I like all your characters, so it's interesting to see, your grit in all the characters, and I didn't know if that was something that you found in one of your previous characters, and you're like, I can portray this really well, and a lot of the characters I go after have that, so I'll just portray it, or how that worked.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of characters. I mean, in Hollywood, it's like a lot of times they put you into slots, so a lot of times, a lot of the roles that I play are very similar. And as I said yesterday, there was a role in Criminal Minds, a guest star that I did that it was very different from what I normally do. And it was, for me, it was a dream because I had a great time doing it, and I got to I really applied myself to it. And I think one of the reasons that I get lazy is because a lot of the times I feel like I'm doing the same type of character over and over again. So to be able to do a character that was so outside of what I'm normally cast doing was, as an actor, was really fun. It was fun, just to really be able to get my juices flowing,
So would you
Can I say that? Juices flowing?
Yeah. So is that something like where your grit would apply to that, or?
I'm sorry?
So I was just curious, like, is it because it's a new character, are you taking any of your previous characteristics and applying it to that?
To the role that I did on Criminal Minds?
Yeah.
It was completely different. I had all new material and all new stuff to work with and to go after. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but it's very different from anything that I had done up to this point, so. Check it out. It's called Normal.
Hi, Mitch.
I
actually
hit myself in the teeth with this.
I actually missed your panel yesterday, so thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
And I just learned about your singing talent. What is one of your favorite things to sing, and would you sing a smidge of it?
I'm not going to sing right now, but I love singing old rock and roll. I love singing Buddy Holly. I love singing Elvis. I love Johnny Cash. I was talking to the boys, and if we do Swing, if I do come back, and if I'm asked to come back and do anything where I can actually sing with them, I'm thinking I might do Folsom Prison Blues. Johnny Cash.
Thank you.
You bet.
Howdy.
Are you keeping score? Anybody keeping score of the you bets? You 14?
Howdy, I was just wondering, in the television show Dallas, how you enjoyed playing one of the worst people I've ever seen on TV. You even were worse than J.R. Ewing, I think.
Wasn't he great? Wasn't it so much fun? I had a ball. I had such a great time, and it was really kind of cool because I had done, in the original run of Dallas, towards the end of it, I played a character called Morrissey, and I worked with Larry for 3 or 4 episodes. So I got to, that was early in my career, so I got to watch Larry Hagman work, and that made a huge impression on me, and I learned a lot just watching him. So when I came back and did the new incarnation of Dallas, they had, before Larry passed, their plans were to have a huge storyline with JR and Harris Ryland going at it. And I was just licking my chops at that. That would have been glorious. Unfortunately, we lost him. But when I first saw Larry, first day that I saw him coming back and doing the new incarnation of the show, I went up and said, Mr. Hagman, I'm Mitch Pileggi, and I'm going to be working with you on the show. And he said, oh, well, who are you playing? And I said, well, I'm playing Harris Ryland. He got this twinkle in his eye, and he goes, "Oh, that's a good one, isn't it?" I said, "Yes, sir." And he goes, "Playing bad guys is the best, isn't it?" I said, "Yes, sir, it is." So it was, it would have been a hoot to be able to really go at it with him, but it was, Harris was a lot of fun to play. I had a great time, and he was a cat, and I got to work with Judith Light playing my mother. She's 3 years older than I am. That was always a lot of, you always got a chuckle out of that, but it was a lot of fun, working with the original cast of the show and being on it. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you. Every time you were on the TV screen, I was so angry at you, so you did a great job.
I've got a great picture that Jared sent to me. It was a screenshot of him watching the show, and it was me holding a gun, pointing it at the screen, and Jared's like, he took a picture of him in front of the TV with his arms up like this. It was hilarious. You didn't see it.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So, your voice as Jim Gordon in the Batman series is absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
You've been in 3 incarnations of DC shows. I'm just curious, are you a fan of the DC universe or just a fan of paychecks?
Well, you know me too well, don't you? No, I'm a fan of being able to buy food and pay bills. Absolutely. But listen. I grew up, reading DC and Marvel comics, so they were a huge part of my childhood. So to see all these shows, come to life on screen is pretty cool. But I had a great time doing that. Doing voiceovers for animation is probably one of the sweetest jobs that you can have in the industry. I had so much fun doing it. You don't have to shave, you don't have to shower, you can go in naked if you want to, because you're standing in front of a mic. Nobody can see you. Well, I mean, people in the booth can see you, and some of the other voice talent that I was working with it was great to be in a room with all these other actors and doing these, bringing these characters to life just through their voices.
Thank you.
You bet.
Hi.
Hi.
I've heard that the Supernatural fandom is different from any other. As an actor, can you describe the differences you've seen from other fandoms you've been part of?
Well, I think the fandom in this genre in general is the most enthusiastic and the most fanatical. You're fans. There's nothing wrong with being fanatical about something that's good. So I think that the fans of this genre really, whether it's Supernatural, the X-Files, it's just you guys are the best. You guys are the best, really. You really are the best fans. You're so invested in the characters and the storylines and just the shows in general. And it's for us, the people that work on them. It's so gratifying, and it makes us. It just really brings so much to our lives that you guys are such a big part. I mean, because you make it for us. So and look at this. Look at you guys, and look at the fandom this show has. It plays out all the way all across the country, all around the world. So it's pretty friggin' cool. And I have nothing but the utmost respect for you guys and what you give us, and it just energizes us.
Anecdote about
It was amazing. He's one of the sweetest, kindest, gentlest. He was one of the sweetest, kindest, gentlest people that I've ever worked with, and if you had met him, you would think, how does this stuff come out of that man's head? Because he is, like I say, he just was such a sweetheart, but there was something going on. He was just he was great. He was a great guy to work with, and I was fortunate enough to have been able to work with him on 4 projects before he passed away. And I was actually working on one of his. He was producing a movie that I did right before he passed. But I didn't get to see him before that, which I'm very kind of broke my heart. I am going to be doing his partner, Marianne Magdalena, and one of his other associates, Jeff Fenner, that he worked with for many years, are doing they do this thing at New Arts in Los Angeles, and we're doing a panel, a Shocker panel, and they asked me if I would come and do it, and so I'm going to go do it. It's gonna be fun. I had a ball. I had a great time shooting Shocker. I have a hard time watching it because I'm so over the top. It's just, and Westwood, it was funny because Westwood, like, he'd be off camera feeding me some of those lines, like finger looking good and stuff like that, you know, and I was like, oh, Wes, I can't say that. And he goes, yeah, you can say it, it'll be great. And I'm like, okay. Because I'm being insane.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed the movie very, very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi.
My favorite episodes of The X-Files were the comedy ones.
Yes.
So especially like the Lily Tomlin and...
The Christmas one?
Yeah, that's still on my DVR. Who is your favorite person to guest star to randomly work with?
You know what? I did. They got to work with most of the people on those shows. As David said, he didn't. You know, because most of the time my character was sitting behind his desk, and at one point David said, "I didn't even know you had legs." So I didn't get out of my office much. On occasion I did, but there were a lot of really good, wonderful. Peter Boyle and Clyde Bruckman's Final Repose was just friggin' amazing, you know. And there's been some really good performances. I mean, I go back and look at some of the actors that worked on the show, and I'm like, oh my God, it's like these guys were on the show. Because they're huge stars now, you know.
I liked whoever came up with the idea of the lizard that turns into a man like once
Right.
every many years.
Yeah, no. I think Darren Morgan wrote that episode. Darren Morgan wrote most of our crazy, funny episodes. He's one of my favorite writers. They're all, I love them all, but Darren holds a special place in my heart. He never wrote anything for Skinner, which was fine. I was like, it's okay, he doesn't fit in this episode. But he called, when we were doing the last season, he called me up and he goes, okay, I'm writing in my script. He goes, you're going to be in this episode. And I was like, oh, that's great. He goes, you only got one line. And he goes, what a line. And it turned out to be a pretty good one. So I did get to work very, very briefly with him. And he said when we were shooting it, I said, okay, what do you want? He goes, well, you just do what you're going to do, what you think Skinner would do. And then I'll tell you what I want you to do. So I did one take where I did my Skinner thing. And then he goes, okay, now I want you to take it and make it really big. I was like, oh my God, I can't do that. This is Skinner. And he goes, no, you can do it. So I made it big, and then David was howling, and he was laughing, and then he goes, okay, make it even bigger. So I did another one. It was like so ridiculous. I felt so it was like crazy. So anyway, he got what he wanted out of me for that. It was just very different, doing acting in his episodes was very different because you did push it a little bit. But it was I was glad to be able to be in one of his episodes.
Cool.
Hi.
Hello. I enjoyed you in Stargate Atlantis, and in one of the episodes you were possessed by a Goa'uld, which involves...
Is that how you say it, Goa'uld?
A Goa'uld,
okay,
yes.
Good.
It involves an enormous long backstory from the original SG-1 series, and I was wondering, in doing that particular role, did you get into any of that backstory to prepare, or did they say just act mean?
Yeah, no, I didn't get into any of that. They just said, okay, you're gonna be like, you're gonna be possessed by this old thing, and thank you. I never knew how to pronounce that. And that's the one where I got my ass kicked by Jason. He threw me over a table. He threw me up against the wall, and he's a big boy, so it was like it was painful. Yeah, no, I kind of just imagined what it would be like to be in that situation, be possessed by that entity, and what would transpire from that.
Thank you.
Did I do okay?
Thank you.
How's it going?
Good, how you doing?
So you mentioned that you did a lot of theater in Austin, 70s and 80s, so I texted my dad and he said he worked with you, Edwin Neal.
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely.
So he says, hey.
Chainsaw Massacre, right?
Yeah, he was the original hitchhiker.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Which I think the fans should try and get him a cameo in the last season of Supernatural, so let everyone know.
Yeah.
So yeah, he kind of looks like a half-crazed version of Jeff Bridges now, which which I guess is Jeff Bridges. So you know, see, I've seen Austin, you know, over the years. You've grown up there. Do you ever think you'll go back and maybe get back into some of that theater?
You know, I actually went back 2 years ago and did a play at Zach, and it was great. It was a lot of fun. I had a ball. I mean, that's where I really started acting and kind of learned figured out what I was.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, he says hi.
Say hi to him for me. Give him my best. That's it. You got nothing over there for me. Hi. No? Hi. No. Anybody else? Loud and swing? Get up here. Hi.
You were on Sons of Anarchy,
Yes, ma'am.
and how was that? What was, I guess, one part of the experience that was maybe your favorite, or something you can share about that?
You know, I had a great time doing it. It was a crazy character that was, you know, as I described yesterday, he was a white supremacist, meth dealing pimp, meth cooking, meth dealing pimp. It was a very interesting character to be able to play, and you know, the guys were great to play off. I think one of the first scenes that I had was, you know, with Charlie and Ron and what a great dude Charlie Hunnam is. Let me tell you, he was always first on the set, first to be there and last to leave. The guy's a trooper, and he's amazing, a great dude too. But we were shooting this scene in this little diner, and you know, we all kind of get into this set too, and there was because my character drank milk because he did meth, and I guess if you do meth, you cook meth, so they coat their esophagus. Thank you. We got a meth cooker here with milk to protect it. So we're doing this, and there's this set too, and I just backhanded this glass of milk. It went flying, hit the wall, hit Charlie in the face, drenched. Milk was just pouring down his face, and the milk kind of was I'm sorry, dude. But yeah, no, the only regret that I have about Sons was that I didn't get to ride a motorcycle.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Yeah, no, I had an SUV. Because I was a pimp.
Thank you so much.
You ask me something. Make something up. No? Come on, I'll put you on the spot. I got nothing else here. If you guys got no more questions, loud and swing, you know? What's that?
I have a question.
Yes.
What is one of your favorite stunts?
Favorite stunts that I've ever done? Here's the problem with actors doing stunts. When I was younger, I always wanted to do all my own stunts, my own fights, you know, jumping out of cars, jumping off of whatever, and now I'm paying for it because my body's racked with arthritis. So my advice to young actors is let the stunt guys do it. If somebody asked me yesterday what are the main things to tell a young actor, and one is don't be an asshole. Two, don't, to learn your lines, and something else, but also let the stunt guys do the stunts, because you're going to pay for it down the line, I guarantee you, because I am, I know. Getting out of bed in the morning takes me about 15 minutes. I used to love to do stunt fights, and I did there's a lot of stunts in Shocker that I did that are really responsible for a lot of the aches and pains that I have. It was always fun doing fights. There was a fight that I did in the X-Files, and I did it with X, with Stephen Williams.
Oh, yeah.
And it was on an elevator. And Rob Bowman was directing the episode. And we did the first day, and actually Steven and I choreographed the thing. We kind of decided what we were going to do. And so after the first take, I grabbed him, I headbutt him with this and that, and I throw him up against the back of the elevator. They called cut, and I said to Bowman, I go, so, is that okay? And he goes, he's a little weak. I was like, okay. So, next take, I threw Steven through the back of the elevator. The whole wall just fell down. He just went flying off the seat. And I went to Bowman, I go, better? That's what he wanted. So the fights were always fun. Hi.
So my sister's watching the X-Files right now back home, and she wanted to ask you the scene between you, Mulder, and Scully, and the bathtubs. What was that like?
Well,
that script?
David directed that episode, and guess who was the third in the water?
You.
Uh-huh. That David to this day claims that they kept changing the water after each one of us was in it. Bullshit. There was shit floating around on that water when I got in it. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, that was a lot of fun, and I thought they shot that really cool, and I thought that the way they edited it was brilliant. So, and I got to eat chocolate-covered strawberries in a bathtub and drink champagne
Thank you.
while talking to Scully. You know what I'm saying? Hi.
Hi. So in our house, it's kind of a tradition to name our pets after famous people that we like. I happen to have a rabbit named Jensen and a cat named Misha. Misha's the worst, by the way. And I was just wondering that if you were going to name a pet after any famous person, who would it be?
Well, we have a cat, and his name is Jack Sparrow. It's my daughter's cat. She named him Jack Sparrow. She's a huge Pirates fan. And we had another one, actually, that was Calypso, right? Yeah, we had another little cat named Calypso. So, yeah. That's it.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello again.
Hi.
You mentioned Ryan Hurst earlier from Sons of Anarchy, and I was wondering if you are a Walking Dead fan and you've seen him as Beta on The Walking Dead.
You know, I have not. I haven't watched a whole lot of Walking Dead, but Ryan Hurst is one of the sweetest people in the world. I adore him. He's a great dude. He's a wonderful actor, and every time I see him is a treat. You know, and I run into him at these things on occasion, and it's always a lot of fun just to hang with him for any amount of time.
He always seems so scary as Beta, so I just didn't know.
Well, I mean, he's a big dude, and he could be scary, but he's about as nice as they come. So, have you ever talked to him in person? Just
I haven't met him.
yeah. Well, I hope you get to meet him. He's a great dude.
Awesome, thank you.
You bet. Nothing over there still. Hi.
Hello. My question is, if the yellow-eyed demon had never come into the Campbells and Winchesters' lives, how do you think that would have changed the relationship between Samuel and Mary and the boys?
Well, he probably wouldn't have snapped his wife's neck and killed. What did I do? I killed John. Made out with my daughter. Yeah, I think a lot of things would have changed.
Fair enough.
You reckon?
Okay, thank you.
Oh, no. Calling Loudon Swain to the stage. An Al Pacino story? You want to know? So I did this movie, Axis Sally. We shot it down in Puerto Rico, and I kind of... Get the fuck out of here, I got a story to tell. I'll tell it real quick, but it was it was such a treat. He's such a humble man and such a wonderful actor, and to watch him work. I learned over that 2-week period. I got to learn so much about the freedom of acting. He riffs and he does things that I'm like going, Jesus, I didn't know I could do that. It was like, yeah, and I said to him after the first day, I said, because he goes off script, and he just like sometimes he goes all over the place, but it's just so interesting to watch everything that he does. And I was kind of engaging him, a little bit, and coming back at him with some of this stuff, and I thought, God, am I being too cheeky? Is this too fresh? And I said to him, Al, are you okay with me engaging? What's that? No, am I hearing things? Acid flashback? But anyway, yeah, it just, I said, are you cool with me engaging you when you go off these riffs? And he goes, I love it. He says, come on, let's go. And so I got to do that with him for 2 weeks, just go nose to nose in a courtroom with Al Pacino. And I've been waiting for 40 years as an actor to have moments like that. So it was very, very, very cool. Unbelievable. You guys, thank you so much.